Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I wanted to discuss a list that I've seen on Pitchfork, and it was of the 100 greatest hip hop albums or rap albums of all time. Now, when I saw this list, initially I thought, okay, it's going to be predictable. The top 10 is going to be the top 10, which is usually the same or some variant of that, which their top 10 was nothing what I was expecting. The top 100 was nothing what I expected. And if you look at this list, to me, it's a pretty much a joke. Well, not a joke. I don't want to say that because a lot of these albums are reputable and a lot of them are credible. But on the list, there were mixtapes, there were albums that didn't fit in the right order, some albums that shouldn't even been on the list. No disrespect to those artists. I won't really specifically name those artists, but there's a lot of artists on the list or albums on the list that shouldn't have been on there, at least in the 100 greatest of all time. Now, these albums, like I said before, are reputable, but they shouldn't have been there. And the albums that were there were out of place, a lot of them. So I'll go through their top 10 because the top 10 was crazy. Uh, Number 10 was Mad Villainy, which I'm sure is probably a great project. Never heard it, but in a top 10 and being number 10, I just don't understand it. Outcast Aquemini, which was nine. I have no problem with that. It's probably supposed to be somewhere in the top 10. Clips, Hell Hath No Fury, which I heard that album. You could probably, I don't think it should be in the top 10. It should be definitely in the top 100. Me personally, I like the new album, Let God Sort Him Out, better, even though it's only been out maybe 4 or 5 months. Nevertheless, I think that album should have been over Hell Hath No Fury. Lauren Hill Miss Education was at number seven, which I believe it deserves top 10. Should, most people say you can't classify it as hip hop or rap, but I understand putting it on the list because it does have elements of hip hop. So I'm not mad at it being in the top 10, but if you're going to put it in there, I think it should be somewhere in the probably top five, maybe. But nevertheless, they're not really wrong on that one. Rich Gang, the tour part one. Yeah, I don't think that album should be in the top 10. I mean, maybe top 100 if you want to put it in there, but not top 10. Nas is Illmatic is in there, which is okay. Got Ghostface Killer, Supreme Clientele, okay. Juvenile 400 Degrees, that's a debatable. It should definitely be in the top 100. I don't know about the top 10, but I'll have a topic discussion on that later. Uh, Tupac, All Eyes on Me. Okay, that's a great one to put in the top 10. And then, but it was number two. I don't think it should be number two. Me personally, I like Me Against the World better. And then last is Mobb Deep, the Infamous. Now that should definitely be in the top 10. Now, number one, I don't think it should have been there, but New York dudes to tell me differently. But this album just seemed like it was rage baiting just to make a discussion, to make think pieces like this or make discussion pieces like this. But I had my biggest gripes on this list is not only the sequencing, but they left out a lot of key albums on this list. And well, the first thing I want to discuss is Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style is at number 100. So it barely made the list. It was number last on the list of the greatest albums, hip hop albums of all time. Now, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album, without him rapping and just the beats, should be higher than 100. It should have been 50 off just that alone, just because of Dr. Dre's production. But no way, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style is not a top 10 album, hip hop album of all time. It's better than 100. Even if you're making the greatest albums of all time with all the genres, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style is not 100. Just off sales, off content, off production, off of what it meant to the genre. It can't be number 100. So that was the biggest one. And then another thing was they had a bunch of mixtapes ahead of albums and just mixtapes on this list, period, which is supposed to be hip hop albums, not mixtapes. And we don't consider mixtapes albums. I don't know what their criteria was because it really didn't say as far as that goes, but I've seen a Sexy Red mixtape on there and I've seen a couple of Lil Wayne mixtapes, which, I don't have any problems with those, but still, it was mixtapes and not albums. And then you have Marshall Mathers LP at number 60. But hip hop albums of all time, there's no way. It's just not possible. And like I said before, with the Snoop Dogg album being at 100, Off Dr. Dre's production alone, it should be higher than that. But Marshall Mathers LP is a top 20, top 10 rap album of all time. So it's just incorrect in that respects. To Pimp a Butterfly at 44. Now I know it's a newer album. It came out, I want to say, over the last 10 years or so. So 44, some might say is appropriate, but no, that's like my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. I would always put that one in the top 20, just off of content alone, not off production, anything like that, but what it meant for his discography and for the growth of his career and reference to hip hop as well. I would definitely put that album in the top 30, top 20. Biggie's Ready to Die is not in the top 10. It was somewhere, I believe, in the 30s or 40s, which is totally inaccurate as well. That's definitely a top 10 album of all time. It Was Written, Nas's It Was Written is not even on the list, which is insane. Some people say It Was Written is better than Illmatic. I'm not the one to say that, but a lot of people have that discussion. But for you not to have Nas on the list, but one time, and for Illmatic at number 5 is insane to me. So your list is really not credible once you do that. The Carter 3 wasn't on this list. And no Lil Wayne albums were actually on this list. The only thing that was on this list for Lil Wayne was mixtapes. And I think one of them was the Drought 3, and there was another mixtape somewhere else. But that's insane not to have Carter 3 on this list, or Carter 1 through 3 if you're gonna make a list of 100 albums of all time. Carter's 1, 2, and 3 should be all on the list somewhere. And if you're making a top 10, top 100 hip hop albums of all time. Now, Carter 3 has to be in the top 10 because of sales and because of content and how many hits it had. But nevertheless, not to have it on the list is insane. And then lastly, Me Against the World, Tupac is not anywhere on this list, which your list is just not credible as well. So this list was kind of off-putting. I don't want to say it's upsetting because I think they were trying to rage bait with this list, but definitely check out this list and tell me what you think about it. And then until next time, I'll see you next time.